Today, there are many people who commit crime and just walk away without punishment. In the past, did kings give harsher punishment to ensure discipline in their kingdom?
During those days, actually, there are two kind of judicial process. One was highly localized. The other one went to the higher officials and the king. I am talking about the Chola setup, which probably was prevalent in all other kingdoms, because the Cholas left a lot of records about the crimes, the punishments and all those stuff. There are many kinds of crimes, but we don't see any record where the punishment is very consistent with the crime. Same crime had a different punishment in one area and a totally different punishment in another area. So thefts, forgery and adultery were considered as very serious crimes, and people who committed these crimes and were convicted of these crimes were basically thrown out of the society. All their properties were confiscated, and they were, in some cases, they were even paraded on donkeys across all around the village. And in most cases, they were barred from contesting elections for the local bodies and holding positions of in public offices. So this was the maximum punishment which we see in many cases. There was a case where an idol was stolen from a temple. Even there, the property was confiscated, and the person was thrown out of the community as a Sivadrohi. And there were records that state that people misused the temple funds, and there were 3 such guys, and who were caught, were punished. Even murders actually were dealt with in similar fashions. We don't see any capital punishment except for one inscription in Mysore which talks about a hanging of a person. Punishments given were mostly mental. Once you are thrown out of the society, once your citizenship is revoked, you are literally on the streets begging for your next meal with your family, and you're going to suffer lifelong. Not only you, but also your family members. During those days, they thought a punishment that would impact the convicted person mentally would do more good to the society than putting him behind the bars. There was one record actually during the medieval period, during Rajaraja's period, that talks about hanging in public of a person convicted of murder. But interestingly, even when it comes to murder, there were cases when the murderer was pardoned. There were people were quite noble, because the pardon, it took place only after the aggrieved party decided not to press on with the charges. So the punishment was, you light a perpetual lamp. They call it as a Nanda Vidak. You light a perpetual lamp in the local temple lifelong, and your bloodline should follow that till the bloodline ends, and donate cattle, cash or kind to the nearest temple. That makes the person even more worse, because mentally, because they'll put up an inscription saying that this person is donating a perpetual lamp, and he and his family will continue to do that because he has been accused and convicted of a murder. If you put him in jail or if you just hang him, it's just going to be a one-time affair. People will forget after 1 month, then they'll get back to their own business. But here, he cannot move out of that place because he has to light that perpetual lamp. People, his neighbors, everyone will be seeing him on a day-to-day basis, and people will be reminded of his crime. He himself will be reminded of his crime. So it is more of a mental torture or mental punishment, you can say. There are records in early 13th century that talk about public lashing, where the accused, where the people who committed crimes and convicted were given 100 lashes, whip lashes in public. By 13th century, many serious punishments came into effect, like amputation of one's hand for stealing. So the punishment became stricter. So that means that crimes had become more frequent as days passed. In most of the cases, we see the punishment was more to do with mental stress rather than physical stress. And even when Rajarajan's brother Aditya Karigalan was murdered, it was a serious case. Rajarajan did not put the convicted people to death. He banished them from the country after confiscating all their properties, not only properties of the 4 convicted, but also the properties of their in-laws, their uncles, almost 17 people in all. And they were just thrown out. And interestingly, even the officials came under punishment. In fact, in Rajendra Chola's inscription of his reign, it says that few tax officials were harassing a widow to pay taxes which her dead husband had already paid. So this came to the notice of the king, and all these 4 officials were not only dismissed, they were asked to pay a hefty fine to the nearest temple and about donate 96 sheeps to the temple each. The king used to investigate only worst crime one can commit, which is treachery and conspiracy against the royals in the kingdom. The rest all cases used to be resolved and judgment given at a lower level. So there was a process put in place. The cases were basically dealt based on the current situation. They did not have any rule book to follow. They just used to take the local factors into consideration, the families of the convict, the accused, as well as the one who suffered, and then based on that, through mutual agreement, they used to come to a judgment.